Hello. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. But by the time you're watching this, it will be evening. Thank you for joining me on today's webinar. It's my first time ever doing a webinar, and this is a pre-recorded version. I'm recording just in case the internet messes up, and we don't know what can happen. In Nigeria, things are not always as they should be. So yeah, it's my first time. I want you guys to have fun, to join me, to gain something, to learn something. If you are watching this particular version now, just know that I'm somewhere around this time, right about now, crying and wondering why things can't just go smooth. With a good internet connection, with good power, with good everything. But at least, no matter what happens, no matter what challenges are posed to us, we always find a solution. We never say no, we always get the job done. So thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Atilola, and I'm going to be using my agenda for today just to make sure that we stay on course. It's my first time, as I said, and it's supposed to be a live webinar, but it's not. And I might be making mistakes, I might be doing anything. It's just going to be as a live webinar should be. So if you find out that things are not going as smoothly or as synced, just know that it's just all for fun. And the main thing is that we gain something. My son is somewhere inside. This is my house. My son is somewhere inside. And if you hear him shouting or crying, just pardon me. I'm a mother, new mother. If you hear thunderstorms, lightning sounds, also pardon me. There's rain falling outside where I am right now, and sub-Saharan Africa, it's all rainy season at this moment. It's just part of the fun, yeah. So let's move straight to today's business. My name is Atilola Moronfolu. A holistic practitioner of trichology, the head of African Naturalistas. I became a holistic practitioner of trichology because there were so many problems that women were facing, and we didn't seem to have solutions to them. So I went to get certified as an expert. I went to gain more knowledge so that I could be able to help women out there. I run African Naturalistas group, which comprises of the hair product, the hair clinic, the blog, and the hair product, the hair clinic, and the blog. We just do everything we can to make your journey to healthy hair better, no matter where you are all over the world. There are many things that we have not been able to do for people out of Nigeria, and we are reaching all over the world, and that's one of the reasons why we created this webinar. I hope that you will actually find good reason to stay, and at the end of the day, you will say, thank God I stayed. I'm going to be using my agenda. I can't really remember how many minutes I've been speaking for. I didn't check the time, but I'm going to be making sure I stay on course. So if you get to watch this particular version instead of the live version, just know that at any point in time, you can always ask questions, since it's not the live version. And when you ask your questions, I'll be sending you the answers, and everybody who registered for this webinar answers to whatever questions you asked. So feel free to ask your questions. It's just a pity that there's no live Q&A, but you're going to be getting your answers before tomorrow is over. You'll be getting answers to all the questions that you ask. So it doesn't matter. Don't be discouraged. Just ask your questions away. Okay, so this is supposed to be the introduction part where you introduce yourselves by name, and I get to greet you and I get to say hi, I get to acknowledge you, but unfortunately we cannot do that. But I can tell you something, that as at the time when we put this pre-recorded version together, we had over 100 registered people to watch this webinar. It's our first webinar, so I think for a first, it's a success. I don't know what other people's standards are, But for a first, having people, over 100 people registered for the webinar on short notice or in short notice, because we started publicizing this on, is it Monday or Tuesday? I think it's a success, and I want to say thank you guys for believing in us to register for this webinar, to believe that we can bring something great to you. Thank you for trusting that this is possible. I want to say thank you to everyone who registered for this webinar. Our plan is to bring you this every month. So when you have finished watching this webinar, I want you guys to give us feedback on what we could have done better, what you would like us to talk about in future webinars. We might or we might not talk about it, you know, but you need to let us know what you want us to talk about. So far, it's concerning hair and hair care, which is where we are experts at. So I want you guys to give us feedback, tell people about it. We do not want to be limited to just Africa, and at the end of today's webinar you will understand why that is the case, why we need to talk about, why we need to reach out to the whole world right from where we are in this little place. Okay, yeah, so I'm just checking the updated number of attendees. Yeah, over 100. Yeah, I was correct about that. So you need to let people know about this webinar. You need to share it. When you're done, tell people that I attended this webinar and it was so great. I got this many resources and it was so fine. You need to attend the next one, and I hope I'll see you next month also. Then what I wanted to say has skipped my mind. Then you yeah, this webinar was supposed to last for 1 hour, but I don't think that will be happening because, as I said, this is a pre-recorded version and the Q&A bits will be out of this version, so it might not last for up to 1 hour. But if it lasts for up to 1 hour, then nothing lost. You get, you didn't lose anything, but the maximum we'll be having this webinar is for 1 hour. Okay, so the introduction bit is over. Since we are not doing this live, it's over, and we are going to be moving to the next agenda. You can't introduce yourself, but tell me what your name is and I will say hi to you via mail when I answer your questions. Okay, so as I said, this is Atlola of African Naturalistas. We started African Naturalistas in 2011 with a blog when I wanted to help women with black African hair, but most of the resources we were getting were from outside Africa, and you know, the texture, mostly black Americans basically, and the texture of the hair that most black Americans have is different from that of we Africans. So I started this blog to care for people with the kind of African hair. But thank God, African Naturalistas is not more limited to Africa right now. It's all over the world. And the good thing is that we are not more just a blog. We have loads of hair care products that we sell all over Nigeria and Africa, but most especially Nigeria. We have a lot of products that we sell. We have a hair clinic, thank God for that. We help women to manage over 50 hair and scalp disorders. They come, some they can be treated, some cannot be treated. But no matter what it is, we help people find hope. I started this African Naturalistas with a vision to help women out there. You know, women are going through a lot when it comes to hair care, but you probably do not know because, you know, we know how to disguise. We are the kings of disguise when it comes to our hair care. You get, but we have this vision to help women with so many things when it comes to hair care, and that's one of the reasons why we are bringing this webinar, where you can just sit down at home, learn about your hair, and apply whatever knowledge you have learned to your own life practically, to your own hair care practically. So that's one of the reasons why we are having this webinar done, and we hope that at the end of the day we are going to be able to achieve this. Now to the topic of the day, without wasting time at all. I'm going to be talking about the chemical composition of the hair and how it affects your daily hair care routine, or how it affects your hair care routine in general. Hair, as we know, or many of us know, grows from the hair follicles. The hair follicles are underneath your scalp. I'm going to be, taking this video and showing you some diagrams, so that, because at the end of the day, it will seem like I'm talking, somewhere in the cloud, and you might not be able to follow me. So it will require that I take this phone right now, switch to my system, and show you the diagrams of what I'm talking about. But hair, as I'm saying, or as I was saying, grows from the hair follicles that are underneath the scalp. And that are underneath the scalp. So those hair follicles, they generate cells. In the hair follicles underneath the scalp, we have hair. In the hair, there are cells, just like in every part of our body, there are cells. In the hair, there are cells, and in the cells, there are protein. So we have our hair follicles, which are those holes. We have follicles all over our body except our palms and underneath our feet. Now talking about the scalp now. The follicles are what you can see, those holes you can see with your naked eyes, but they are actually underneath your skin, underneath your epidermis, which is the top layer of your skin. Underneath it, we have the hair follicles, which is where hair comes from. In those hair, there are cells, just like there are cells all over in every part of our body. And in the cells, there are proteins. In the cells that are in the hair, that are in the follicle, there are proteins. Don't worry, I'm going to show you some diagrams to help you understand this better. And these proteins are called keratin. So I'm sure you've heard of, keratin, this. In fact, some people have decided to name their products Kera something. You get. So there are keratin in those cells. They are the proteins in those cells. Now, at this point where the cells are in the hair underneath the scalp, those cells are alive. They are living cells. They are basically living cells. They have life in them. But after a while, these cells go through a process of keratinization and they die. Stay with me. I'm going to explain this better. The keratinization is a process where the cells are first of all filled up with this protein called keratin. Then they begin to go upward, push themselves out of your scalp. In the process of them growing upward and pushing themselves out of your scalp, they lose their nucleus and they die. The cells die, not the protein. Proteins are not living things, so the cells grow, they lose their nucleus and they die. If you studied biology, or you had biology in your high school, you remember that the life of a cell is in the nucleus. So once the nucleus is dead, the cell is dead. Or once the nucleus is gone, the cell is dead. So they lose their nucleus and they die. And you have what you call hair. So your hair is just a shaft of dead cells. It doesn't mean your hair is dead, but it's just a shaft of dead cells. That's what your hair is. Now, it's just a shaft of bunched up keratinized cells that are no longer living. The amino acid, okay, I'm jumping. The proteins are still inside the cells, but the cells themselves are dead. All right, that is keratinization. So keratinization is the process of the cells developing the protein called keratin, then the cells growing up your hair strands, losing their nucleus and dying. That's keratinization. And your hair comes out. Now, these cells are already dead, but they have protein in them. And this protein are basically amino acids. Amino acids, loads of amino acids, but they are joined. They are joined by peptide bonds. But before I go to that, I'm going to show you the diagram of what I was talking about so that you can understand what I just said. Okay, so here it is. Hold on. You can see my system. These are the cells. Just look at this diagram here. I hope you can see my cursor. Yes, this is it. We have the hair follicles. This from here to here is underneath your scalp. Over here is the top. This is the hair that you can see. This is your scalp here, and those holes that you see when you cut your hair or when you look at your head, this is it here. Very simple. This is the hair follicle. Here, life is there. You get there's actually blood flowing through all these hair follicles here, but once it gets here, it's dead, and this is your hair. All right. I hope that was gotten. Okay. So that's that. Now, these proteins inside the dead cells or inside the cells generally, they are basically amino acids, loads and loads of amino acids, but they are linked by peptide bonds. So you can imagine one small protein here, 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 but they are linked by bonds called peptide bonds. Now, when you have loads of those amino acids linked by peptide bonds, you can call them polypeptide chains. Poly is just a word for multiple, for plenty. You get, so polypeptide chain is just a link of a long set of amino acids. So that's what you have, you call polypeptide chain. Don't worry, I know we are getting all sciencey here, but we'll soon get to the fun parts. That's what's called the polypeptide chain. And when you have the polypeptide chains linked together, then you have your bonds. Because your hair shaft is made up of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of polypeptide chains in the cells. They are made up of thousands of polypeptide chains, and those chains are joined together by bonds. These bonds are the things that give our hair structure. In fact, these bonds are the things that determine whether your hair is like this or like this, or whatever structure, whatever we see in the physical are determined by these bonds holding the multiple chains together. So we have the cells. In those cells, there are proteins. Those proteins are amino acids linked by small bonds called the peptide bonds. Those bonds, many of them together are called polypeptide chains, and those chains are now linked together by side bonds. They are linked together side by side. That's why they are called side bonds. So if you imagine you have a long chain here and a long chain here, and you have three bonds like in a ladder-like form, that's what we call the side bonds, because you're holding those chains side by side, and that's what gives your hair the structure. That's what gives it body. That's what gives it fiber. That's what makes it what it is today. The polypeptide chains. Now, when you have a difference made in your hair structure, it goes to the cortex of your hair strands, and it affects those polypeptide chains held by the bonds. Now there are three kinds of bonds. We have the in two chains linked together, there are always three kinds of bonds. There is the salt bond, the hydrogen bond, and the disulfide bond. Two of those bonds are temporary bonds, and one is a permanent bond. These bonds, the temporary bonds, when you do anything to them, they can come back together. They forgive you, they do whatever you want, and whatever it is you want them to do. You know, you can basically manipulate them. But the permanent bond is permanent. Once it cannot be broken, and once it is broken, it cannot come back together. That's why it's called a permanent bond. So we have the salt bond, the hydrogen bond, and the disulfide bonds, linking every two polypeptide chains together. So you can imagine these two chains linked together, these two chains linked together, linked to another chain, linked to another chain, and we are seeing that you have thousands and thousands and thousands of those in your hair shafts. In fact, it's located in the cortex of your hair. Let me show you the cortex of your hair. This is, can you see my cursor? Yes. This is the cortex of your hair. This is the hair cuticles. This outer part is basically what we see with our naked eyes. The one that basically forms the covering of our hair and protects our hair from all damages. Then this inner part where you see all these dots is where the life of the hair is. That's the cortex of your hair. This medulla is just like the inner part of the hair. Some people have it, some don't have it. Very, very fine strands lack it, and some, like the thick ones, have it. But this cortex is where everything, every chemical change that affects your hair strands, this is one hair strand, you know, under the microscope. And this every chemical change that affects your hair strands, this is where it happens. And this is where all those polypeptide chains are. So in this place, we have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of polypeptide chains happening right here in this place. Okay, so if you look at this place, this is what I was talking about. These are the polypeptide chains here. These are the polypeptide chains. This one's here. These are the chains. So look at these balls here. This ball here is one amino acid, one amino acid, one amino acid. They are linked together by this line here in between these two balls is called a peptide bond. Now, when you have loads and loads and loads and loads of them linked together, it's called a polypeptide chain. Now, one polypeptide chain linked to another polypeptide chain is held together by three bonds: the salt bond, the disulfide bond, the hydrogen bond. This salt bond and this hydrogen bond, they are temporary bonds, so they are held together. If this is signified by a dotted line here, but the disulfide bond is held together by a permanent bond, and that is one chain, one long thing that cannot be broken. Once it's broken, it cannot come back together. So I hope that is okay with the diagram bits. So imagine not having this knowledge and knowing that there are some things you can do to your hair that will give it a temporary effect, and there are some things that will do to your hair that will give it a permanent effect. Once we, at the end of the day, know that this is what we want to do to our hair and this is what we don't want to do to our hair, all right. So when pardon me please, the temporary bonds, as I said, they are salt bonds and they are hydrogen bonds, and they are easily, those bonds are easily broken and they easily rejoin. So an example of where we mess up with our salt and hydrogen bonds are where we do the heat styling, the wet waving, you know, when we blow dry our hair and it's so straight and this, and the next day it goes all kinky and curly. You've just, you know, basically worked on your salt and hydrogen bonds, which are the temporary bonds. Whatever it is that are happening to them, they're temporary. But I know by now you can give me the example of messing with your permanent bond. Heat damage, relaxing your hair, perming your hair, texturizing your hair, those mess up with your disulfide bonds. They go straight to those permanent bonds, break them, and they never come back together. And that's why whenever you relax your hair, you can never go natural again, no matter what anybody tells you. You will have to cut that hair and regrow it from the cells, and it will have to go through the process of keratinization again, forming the bonds all over before you can get your natural hair back. So don't let anybody deceive you and tell you that your relaxed hair can turn natural again, because we hear so many, you know, so many things outside. What people say, this is science right here, this is the real deal. Once your hair is relaxed, it cannot go natural again. I know my African sisters, many naturalists already know that, but people that just new to this natural hair care journey, don't be deceived. Once the permanent bonds are broken, they can never go back to the way they used to be again, unless they are cut off and regrown from the hair follicles. So you need to know these things, because you need to know what is reversible, what is irreversible, what you do to your hair in your closet, what you allow other people do to your hair. We are bringing that science knowledge and basically applying it to your practical hair care lifestyle right now. When you blow dry your hair, when you wet or heat style your hair, even though the patterns are altered, people look at your hair and they say, oh, did you relax your hair? And you say, no, I just blow dried it. Tomorrow it's going to go back to what it used to be. Then you understand why that is that, because the cortex of your hair did not go through any chemical, you know, modification. That's why they say chemical relaxers. It didn't go through any chemical modification. So those salt bonds, those hydrogen bonds, they are basically the ones, being tampered with, and at the end of the day, they come back together and you get your original hair structure back. But when you mess up with your permanent bonds by relaxing your hair and perming your hair, or having heat damage that permanently break those disulfide bonds, it will not go back to the way it used to be until the hair is eliminated and another set of cells go through the keratinization process. So if you decide that you already have this knowledge and you still want to relax your hair, knowing that it will never go back to the way it used to be, then it's your choice. At least now you have been armed with the knowledge, and you would not say you were not told that your hair is now straight, it will never be curly again. And the cuticle that is outside your hair is just basically a protective layer for your hair. So whatever it is that is being done into your hair is going through the cuticles into your cortex and doing the work. Please note that texturizing your hair is breaking those bonds permanently. I don't care what anyone says, texturizing, you will never get your original structure back. Yes, it might not be as straight as it is when you go to relax your hair outrightly, but it will never be the way your hair was, because the hydrogen bonds have been broken and destroyed. Don't let anybody out there deceive you. In fact, I've even heard some rumors about some natural hair salons in quotes that are mixing relaxers with conditioners, with natural conditioners to, you know, they say to loosen the texture of their client's hair. You can imagine such deception going on. And these clients don't know. They just say, oh, my hair is softer. My hair is no more as kinky. But they've added something to the conditioner and they have broken the disulfide bonds and they have altered the texture of that person's hair. And you know what's going to happen at the end of the day? When the real hair starts growing from under, breakage, and the hair breaks off, and you say, I'm having hair damage. No matter whatever it is you want to do, just know what is being done to your hair and make the choice that even though I know, yes, let them go ahead and do it. It's going to be really bad if you did not know in the first place. I'm just hoping that my camera is still well situated, because I know I've moved this over and over again to show you those things. All right. So at this point in time, you can ask me questions about your hair care routine, and I'm going to be answering you once I'm sending the emails, the hair care emails to everyone to thank you, to ask for your feedback and to answer your questions. But ask the questions now. It's such a pity that we could not do this live, but at the end of the day, it's all good. It's nothing lost, as I said. Now, that brings me to what the special announcement I'm about to make to all of you today. We all know that beauty and hair care, it boils down to a lot of science, as we have seen right now, that many of us are not ready to commit to, because it's not just out there. I mean, imagine me telling you that before you relax your hair or you do not relax your hair, you need to sit down and learn about the disulfide bonds, learn about the salt bonds, the hydrogen bonds. I mean, who has time for that? I'm not interested in learning about Fourier transforms to know why the trailer is going at the speed it's going on. I just want to know that the trailer should not be speeding this fast. I don't need to be able to calculate the formulas that tells me that. So really, nobody really wants to know the science, or people want to know for knowledge sake or for education's sake, but not everybody out there is interested. But these things affect the way we look. They affect how beautiful we look. They determine whether our hair will be falling out of our head today or not. So that's why you have people like us break this thing down in detail, because ignorance has caused a lot of people to end up with hair and scalp disorders that they wouldn't have been with if they knew what they should know. They don't know these things, not because they are careless people. I see many women out there, not because they are careless, it's just because they don't know. If they knew better, they would do better. So that's why you have people like me break these things down. I mean, what you would have learned, sat down to use 30 minutes to understand. I mean, I said 30 minutes, 30 hours to understand. I'm breaking it down for you in 30 minutes in this webinar, and you're going. And now, this is why we set up African Naturalistas. That's why we have our hair clinic, so that we help women to manage over 50 hair and scalp disorders. And we have been getting requests from people all over the world. Oh, this is wrong with my hair, that is wrong with my hair, I need a hair care regimen, this, that. And I'm like, oh no, I really cannot get to people. In fact, I cannot get to people physically outside Lagos. I can only stay in Lagos and help people in Lagos. But there are a lot of people outside Lagos that have issues. Loads of people. And that is why I'm offering this thing that I'm about to offer. Because while our hair clinic is effective, we cannot reach everyone. And that is why we have come up with a hair care regimen ebook. Hair care regimen documentation. Now, no matter where it is all over the world you can use it. Simple. In fact, it was our own invention, like our own invention to solve people's problems. So we have come up with a 365-day natural hair care regimen for everybody to use. It's a document, it's a book where you just basically take that book, you click on it on the particular date that you want, and you follow the steps for that day. You have the products that you're going to be using outlined in the regimen already. You have the products you're going to be using or its equivalents outlined, the steps you are going to be taking. Basically, it's a natural hair care regimen book for dummies. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Step 4, do this. We have done this for every single day for the next 1 year. How beautiful is that? For the next 1 year, you have everything that you're going to be doing to your hair documented for you step by step. In fact, the amount of time it's going to take for you to get this done was also documented. And as I said, it's our own natural, it's our unique invention for you, and it's not a regular, it's not a hair care book. It's not a regular hair care book that is how to care for your hair. This is, imagine the dumbest person, permits me to say, that does not know anything about hair can use this hair care documents for their hair. Just so, today is 7th of July, just go to July 7, go to the calendar, click July 7, it will take you to the regimen for that day. And if there are 2 regimen processes, click the one you're going to do now, click the one you're going to do next, do it and forget it. Now, I'm sure you already know why this book is really good for you. And I have a bonus for you at the end of the day, so don't go anywhere. This book is very easy to use. It's very simple to use, as I already mentioned. Just click on the date and you get the one that you are going to be doing for that day. It's unique to your needs. We have 6 types. We have 6 types. We have the one that caters to normal hair. We have that for children's hair. We have that for seborrheic dermatitis. We have that for the busy people. We have that one for dry and itchy scalp. We have the one for damaged hair. Yeah, those are 6 that we have mentioned. So whatever it is that your own situation is, you can pick that one. So you are not going to be getting all 6. You just pick the one that they are easy to your unique to your needs, because what works for me might not work for Kiki. What works for Kiki might not work for Fifi. What works for Fifi might not work for Didi. I hope you like the rhyming of my names. All right, so it's simple to use, it's unique to your needs, it erases the need for record keeping, because it's a hair care regimen document that everything has already been documented for you, and you are following a particular date. If you want to remember, oh, what did I do to my hair 2 Saturdays ago? Just go to your own book, and just click on 2 Saturdays ago and see what you did to your hair. So you don't have to, when I used to care for my hair, then I remember, last week Saturday I did a protein treatment, I did a this, I did a that. No. It is not the case in this scenario. Everything is already documented. This book is magical. Let me just put it that way. It's magical. I can't really show you, or else unless you get your own. As I said, you just need to go to that date and remember what you did here, if you even need to know. And it's cyclical, it's habitual, so it's in cycles. So it's not so complex that, for the whole 365 days, you are doing 365 different treatments. No, it's cyclical, and it helps you develop a habit of good hair care routine. So even though it's easy, after a while, you just find out that, okay, it's 6 months time, it's time for my protein treatment, or it's time for my scalp treatment for those ones dealing with scalp disorders. It's time for my whatever treatment it is. After a while, it builds a habit inside of you. Even though we have made it easy, it doesn't make you lazy. It builds a habit inside of you that you know that now this is what I want to do, or I think it's time for my my clay treatment. So it's cyclical arbitral. You might be wondering that. Firstly, you might be wondering, why do you need a regimen? You know, research has shown that it's the people that have a good hair care regimen are not necessarily the ones who have the most products, that have the best hair. I mean, look at my hair. I know you cannot see, but my hair, when stretched out before I locked it, reaches my waist. You can go to the website, which I'll be releasing at the end of this webinar, to see how my hair used to be. Is my waist length hair, and it wasn't developed by all the products in the world. It's a good hair care regimen that makes your hair grow, not loads of products. So research has shown that it's the hair that is carefully and intentionally cared for with a good hair care regimen that thrives, not the one that has so many products. That's why you need a good natural hair care regimen, or a good hair care regimen, because even though your hair is not natural, you need a hair care regimen. And you might ask, does my hair really need a regimen? Yes, your hair needs a regimen, because if you can be caring for your skin, yourself, everything every day, then there is no reason why you should not be caring for your hair for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, on weekends, maybe for 1 hour, doing things to your hair to make you thrive. This is not extensions. This is all my hair. And I said, when stretched out, it's all down to my waist. Even before I cut it and went on locks. So your hair needs a regimen. Your hair needs to thrive. Your hair needs to thrive. So you can just go to the website. I'll put it on the link here. If your hair is chemically processed, relaxed, still go to the website. It's for everybody, whether your hair is natural or whether your hair is relaxed. Even though we don't put chemical products in our regimen, we don't recommend chemical products in the regimen. Even though your hair is chemically processed, you will still be using the regimen. So it's comprehensively details the calendars, the steps, the objective of each regimen. So when you are doing whatever it is you are doing that night or that morning or that weekend, you know why exactly it is you are doing this thing. The products they require, everything has been done for you. Just go and follow the steps, and at the end of 365 days, I promise you, your hair will never remain the same. And now, for the people that are going to be getting their own hair care regimen from this webinar, we are giving you an additional 6 months. So you're not only having 1 year documented for you, you are having 6 months extra. But you must be sure to get it sometime this week before we give you, for you to get that bonus. You're going to be getting 6 months extra. So you're going to be getting from July 2018 all the way to December 2019. Every single day's regimen is there. Every single day regimen is there for 1 year and 6 months. If you get it next week or 2 weeks, we are going to be taking away those 6 months. So now here, the one for the normal hair costs $24.99. You can buy it in Naira or in dollars. You get, but I'm just going to be giving you, let me give it to you both in dollars and in Naira. The one for the normal hair costs $24.99. The one for the seborrheic dermatitis costs $34.99. If you have seborrheic dermatitis, you better don't get the one for the normal hair, because you have a lot of hair and scalp things to manage and to correct. The one for the children's hair also costs $24.99. The one for the damaged hair costs $34.99. The one for dry and itchy scalp costs $34.99. The one for the busy bees costs $29.99. I'm trying to get the Naira equivalent, but you know how internet can be at times. I'm going to give it to you now, but you don't have to buy it in dollars. You can buy in dollars, you can buy in naira. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do. So when you go there, I mean, everything has been made easy for you. Once you take the one you want, you get it delivered to your device. Once it comes to your device, all you do is click. It's a clickable document. Click the particular day you want. You can ask me any questions about the document or about the webinar today or about the hair care. We are all going to be there for you. So it's hairregimen.africannaturalistas.com. You are going to see everything there. hairregimen.africannaturalistas.com. You are going to be seeing everything there. I'm also going to put it in the link of this video. If I cannot, I'll try to put it as a clickable link, and if I cannot do that, you'll see below. Hair, HAIR, regimen, REGIMEN africannaturalistas.com. You will see everything about this. And if you don't get it this week and you get it next time, you are going to be losing the 6 months additional that we are giving you. So thank you very much. I'm going to be waiting for your questions and I'm going to be answering you guys. Thank you for watching this webinar. If you watched it live, good. If you did not watch it live, you watched the replay version, all good. It is all good. Thank you very much. I'm going to see you in the next episode. Watch out for our emails. You are going to hear from us. Thank you very much.